Part 1. White Clouds. Verdant Rain Moon. Tower of Black Winds. The ceaseless rains that satiate the verdant landscape of Fodlan are accompanied by fierce winds and mighty roars of thunder. This abundance of rain, sparkling as it falls against beams of emerging sunlight, is a constant reminder to the people of Fodlan that nature is ever wild and unpredictable. For when the rain finally does take pause, the clouds part and give way to a glorious rainbow.
I have a new mission for you, Professor. I would like for you to take your students into Kingdom territory to eliminate some thieves.
They stole a hero's relic from House Gautier of the Holy Kingdom of Fargus, the Lance of Ruin. Their leader's name is Miklan. He is apparently a disowned son of House Gautier. I believe it had something to do with his lack of a crest. Such happenings are fairly common within the kingdom.
The Crestless cannot unleash the goddess's power even if they possess a relic. Nonetheless, they are still capable of simply wielding those weapons.
The hero's relics are immensely powerful weapons. We must meet this threat with adequate force. Unfortunately, most of the Knights of Seiros are away from the monastery, purging the apostates of the Western Church. So we are entrusting you with this mission. After all, you wield the Sword of the Creator, which is more than capable of opposing any relic.
The Sword of the Creator is a powerful weapon well beyond the other relics. You have nothing to fear. However, to ensure that no harm comes to the students, we will also send the monastery's most skilled individuals to aid you.
I must remind you that you are expected to conduct yourself in a manner befitting the wielder of that holy sword. Also, you should know that Professor Hanneman has been looking for you. That is all.
Hey, Teach. I gotta say, I never would have guessed you were a descendant of the King of Liberation. You didn't forget, did you? That story I told you about a relic that could cut a mountain in half? That relic was the Sword of the Creator, the very same used by Nemesis, the King of Liberation. Don't be coy, Teach. The Sword of the Creator could only be wielded by Nemesis. If you can use it too, that can only mean you have that bloodline's crest. Fine, keep your secrets. But just so you know, I don't understand isn't gonna cut it here at the monastery. Speaking of, Professor Hanneman has been looking for you. He probably wants to examine your crest with those crazy instruments of his. Actually, sounds amusing. Maybe I'll tag along.
If it isn't my little Claude, what has you so worked up?
Judith? What are you doing here?
That's Lady Judith to you, boy. I told you, until you're in charge, I expect you to address me with all due respect. Anyway, I'm here to retrieve you. Duke Regan's condition has taken a turn for the worse.
Are you saying the old man's on his deathbed?
No, it's not that bad. But in the state he's in, he won't be able to participate in the next Roundtable conference. He wants you to go in his stead. I volunteered to play the messenger.
Wow, thanks for that. Oh, and Teach, this is Judith, also known as the hero of House Dathnal.
So you're little Claude's teacher, are you? How much trouble has he been giving you?
If her nickname didn't give it away, you should know that Judith, Lady Judith, is the leader of the famous House Dathnal of the Leicester Alliance. She used to be a big deal at the Roundtable conferences, but it seems of late she's been reduced to a mere...
You had better shut that mouth before I put my boot in it, you tactless nuisance. Now come on, let's get going. Sorry, Professor, but I need to borrow the boy for a bit.
I suppose we'll have to finish our chat later. Sorry, Teach. But don't you worry, I'll be back in time for our next mission. All right, Judith, let's get going.
It's Lady... I suppose you are the active leader for the time being. Fair enough, boy. Fair enough.
Good of you to come, Professor. I've heard much about you lately. Specifically, that you are able to awaken the sword of the Creator's power. Thusly, it seems the true nature of your crest has been uncovered. I had, of course, seen your crest before. However, at first, I failed to recognize its true nature. Eventually, it dawned on me that what is visible is perhaps merely a small part of a greater whole. In other words, your crest is too significant to be detected when using normal instruments. After this discovery, I began researching crests that might fit that description, which allowed for a temporary hypothesis. However, I could not be certain. The crest my conclusions led me to was far too unusual. A crest thought to have disappeared from this world in the millennium since the fall of Nemesis, the King of Liberation. The Crest of Flames. That is what you possess. Your ability to wield the Sword of the Creator has unequivocally proven my hypothesis. A legendary power, dormant since time immemorial and now resurrected. There can be no doubt that this ancient power resides within you.
Hey, Teach, hold on a minute, okay? I'm gonna have this cleared up in no time. Nah, that's okay. I'll be finished soon. I'm just in the middle of mixing up a new poison. And done. What do you think of that, Teach? A colorless, odorless poison. Say, care to test it out for me? In 2 days' time, you'll have a terrible case of, let's call it stomach trouble. It's a peaceful poison, so you'll live, but you'll certainly be inconvenienced. I hear your silent question, Teach. Why the delay? That's so it can be used even if you don't have access to the target when you need the poison to take effect. Naturally, I have no immediate plans for this stuff. I suppose I just felt like broadening the old horizons a bit. When devising schemes, it's best to have as many options at your disposal as possible. Expanding those options is kind of a hobby for me. Well, I grew up in an environment where it was necessary to think that way. It's like I told you before, I wasn't born into a life of luxury. Ever since I was a child, I've always been seen as different from those around me. An outsider of sorts. I've been resented and hated. There have even been attempts on my life. I don't believe I've earned such treatment, but that's how it goes for people like me. Thanks, Teach. You know, in many ways, I'm just a normal person like everyone else. But in the right environment, anyone could be seen as an outsider. It can become overwhelming. And that's why I kept running, kept fighting. As a kid, I spent a lot of time licking my wounds and coming up with schemes, trying to keep my nose out of trouble while plotting against my enemies. My parents always told me I wouldn't grow stronger if I didn't learn to fight my own battles. And so in the end, I did. And I grew up to be as independent, as self-reliant as my parents always wished for me to be. Lucky me, right? If anyone knows what I'm talking about, it must be you, eh, Teach? I get the feeling you know what it's like to be an outsider. The moment I first laid eyes on you, I knew you weren't like everyone else. People don't care for folks like that. You do well to watch your back. On the bright side, that's also part of the reason that I find you so interesting.
Ah, that fragrance! Could it be? Ferdinand, I cannot help but notice the exquisite tea you're drinking.
Not many can appreciate it, let alone recognize it. I'm impressed.
Perhaps you would be so good as to indulge me with a cup?
By all means, allow me to pour.
Ah, what a delightful aroma. When I close my eyes, I feel as though I've wandered into a rose garden.
Such a precise, poetic description. But please, drink up. No need to stand on ceremony.
How gracious of you. Very well. Flavor, fragrance, and hue, all in fine harmony. This is a most superior brew. And in a market saturated by pale imitation, no less. You did well to acquire such fine fare.
You are clearly quite passionate about tea. And more than just passionate. You know what it takes to brew a fine cup. To say nothing of your flawless etiquette and sterling attentiveness.
Certainly, proper etiquette at tea time is one of the surest hallmarks of quality breeding. And the extent of one's attentiveness is quite often indicative of the depth of one's character. The ability of a person of fine stock to exhibit a rich quality of character is precisely what determines whether one is worthy to be called noble. And all of that can be seen in how one handles such a simple thing as a cup of tea.
Ah, marvelously put, Lawrence. I can tell you have given much thought to this subject. And if I may, I have always considered you to be the very model of noble comportment.
Oh, likewise, this has certainly been an extraordinarily meaningful cup of tea.
I wholeheartedly concur. Before we part ways, I would like to offer you some of these leaves.
Truly? Well, I'm flattered, but I cannot simply accept them without offering something in exchange. You simply must allow me to host you in turn, by way of recompense. We shall drink from House Gloucester's finest teacups and enjoy the loveliest of its cakes.
That sounds exquisite. I look forward to it.
Huh? What's that noise? Sounds like someone's having fun. Maybe it's coming from the greenhouse.
That was really fun, Bernie. Good thing I found such an out-of-the-way spot to play. Only the pretty flowers heard me here. Isn't that right, little flower? You're the only one who heard, aren't you? What did you think?
That was amazing!
Why's your voice so deep?
What? I'm no flower.
Oh no. Raphael, you heard it all, didn't you?
I did! What kind of instrument was that? I could hear it all the way over at the training grounds. It was great. I didn't know you could play.
All the way from the training grounds? Oh.
That's right. Then I came here to tell you how good you sounded.
Good. No, I'm on to you. First, you flatter me. Then you get me to perform on stage in front of everyone to humiliate me.
No? But that's a great idea. Everyone should be able to hear your music.
Ah, I knew it! Monster! I won't fall victim to your schemes!
I don't know what just happened, but I think I might have scared her.
A stone? A stone. I do not understand. Yet, as I think of it, the pounding in my chest grows faster still. But is that me? Or is it you?
Ah, Professor. Gerald was looking for you. It seems he has gone off somewhere. If he is not in his room, then surely someone has seen him. Ask around.
Oh, Professor, are you looking for Captain Gerald? I just saw him in the Knight's Hall a little while ago. He was talking with a female knight, but I didn't get a good look at who she was.
Oh, Gerald? He said something about visiting a grave. There's a graveyard attached to the monastery, so you'll probably find him there. I can't remember where the graveyard is, but I bet Sedith knows.
Hey, I wanted to ask you to join me, but I couldn't find you. So, here I am. I was thinking we should visit your mother. She's resting beneath this humble grave. Oh, of course you would ask that. I wouldn't know where to begin. I suppose I haven't talked much about her. She was gentle and smart. Oh, so smart. A wonderful cook. Always kind to everyone. And she loved flowers. Whenever I brought her back an unusual flower, her face would light up. I cherish those memories. I can't count how many times she made me happy just by smiling. And she smiled the most when she was pregnant with you. She died right after you were born. She wasn't able to spend much time with you, but she loved you with all her heart. That's the truest thing I know. Never forget it. This ring is the only keepsake I have of her. In time, it will be yours. One day, I hope you'll give this ring to someone you love as well as I love her.
Oof. This wasn't the first time I've taken part in an Alliance Roundtable conference, but it was still exhausting. There's not enough cooperation in that group, especially from Lawrence's father. But at least my grandfather was surprisingly alert. Judging by that, I'd say he's got at least 5 more years in him.
Is it true that Lady Rhea entrusted the Sword of the Creator to you? I can hardly even fathom you being capable of wielding something of such power. Just who are you anyway?
I thought school life would be peaceful and quiet with a sprinkle of drama to keep things interesting. But since you arrived, it's been one thing after another. Is that just a coincidence, I wonder? What do you mean? I don't like the way you said that. Stop trying to spook me.
Hey, Professor. Don't you think everyone's making too big a fuss over these crests, or heroes' relics, or whatever they're called? How important can that stuff really be? Personally, I don't even care that I don't have a crest. I'll take muscles over crests any day. Heck, I'll take muscles over a hot meal. Actually...
Some people are unhappy because they don't have the crest they want. And some are unhappy because they have a crest they never asked for.
It seems that our next mission is another bandit hunt. This time I've heard that their leader is the son of a noble family. What a complete disgrace to the nobility.
I've been hearing about you a lot lately. Word on the street is you wield some amazing sword. If you ever want to sell it to me, I pay top G. Just kidding. Sorta. It's, not for sale, is it?
Hail, Professor. If I may introduce myself, I am Gilbert. My life has been spent as a dedicated knight. I am to accompany you on your assignment. I may have slowed a step in recent years, but I pledge to you the full extent of my abilities. No, Professor. The pleasure is all mine, I assure you.
Hello, Professor. You're really on the move today. A lot to get done, I take it? I'm happy to help. Tell me, is there anything I can do to lighten your load a bit? Oh, surely there must be something. Don't be shy about asking for help. We're practically siblings, after all, cut from the same cloth. I was raised by Gerald just as you were, so we should have no trouble getting along. Huh? Did I not mention that? How thoughtless! What an embarrassing gaffe! My parents died when I was small, and I came to live in the monastery. It was an aimless existence. But sometimes a knight would pass by, wearing magnificent armor. That knight was Gerald. And the first time he laid eyes on me, he made me his squire. What was he thinking, huh? No kidding. I don't think I'll ever fully understand his logic. Later, I heard that the squire preceding me had died of a terrible plague. I looked a bit like him and was about the same age, so Gerald thought me a suitable replacement. A little nutty, old Gerald, there's no doubt about that. Quite a character. All that was more than 30 years ago. How time flies. That's right. I wasn't even 15 years old. Well, Gerald hardly seems to have aged since then. In fact, over drinks he once told me, perhaps that's a story for another day. At any rate, that's Gerald for you. One of a kind. I don't think there's anyone else quite like him. Right. Well, now you've heard my whole story. I hope that you understand now why I feel such a strong sense of attachment to you. If you're ever in a bind, just give me a holler. I'll help however I can.
Indeed, indeed. Well, I'll let you get back to it. But truly, if I can take anything off your plate, don't hesitate to let me know.
Ah, Dorothea, your beauty puts even the most pristine flower to shame.
Ah, Lawrence, as silver-tongued as ever.
Oh, not at all. I must bid you good day.
I see the rumors are true. What a shame.
Rumors? About me? Whatever do you mean?
Why, that you're always ready to flirt. Unless she's a commoner. Then you'll bid her good day as quickly as possible. Like you did with me just now. Are we so unpleasant to speak to, us commoners?
That is a rather pointed question, but I do happen to have an answer for you. As the heir to House Gloucester, I am in search of a bride of suitable social status. The alliance isn't fully unified. I require someone who will help bring it together.
I'd think you could find plenty of suitable women, even among the masses.
Do not be so certain. A lady who marries me must be prepared to enter noble society, whether she wishes to or not. It is a complex web of etiquette and expectation, not a world one could easily step into without the proper upbringing. What's more, House Gloucester would hardly see much benefit were I to join myself to the household of a commoner.
Oh, I can imagine. Well, I suppose that means any friendship between you and I is doomed as well.
Isn't that a rather excessive conclusion?
You want someone to birth your house's next generation. I want someone to share my life with. I'm not even an option in your eyes, and you're hardly viable in mine. However, we're all friends here, aren't we? So I suppose politeness at the very least is in order.
Oh, I beg your pardon. Are you all right?
Yes, I'm Ow! I'm fine. I just twisted my ankle.
Oh, that won't do. Come, take my hand. Let's get you to the infirmary.
Are you sure it's okay to be seen helping me?
Why would it not be?
I thought you only extended your kindness to the nobility.
Certainly not. To aid a commoner in need is the most noble endeavor of all. Not only that, but you were injured by my carelessness. It is doubly my duty to assist.
In that case, I'll gladly accept your offer.
Good. There does not appear to be any real swelling, so you should heal swiftly.
Thank you so much for escorting me.
Walking on it will still be unpleasant. Allow me to lend you my shoulder, at least as far as your room.
If you're still offering to help, then I can't say no.
There you are, safe and sound. I will take my leave.
Thank you again, Lawrence. You know, I think I've learned something about you.
What is that?
In truth, it's not that you only extend your kindness to noble women. It's that you can't even see us of lower birth.
Excuse me?
You and I have been together all this time, but never once did you look me in the eye.
I hadn't noticed. But you will have to excuse any perceived rudeness. As the heir to House Gloucester, I have a duty. I must ask you to forget about me. Farewell.
Forget about him? What could that possibly mean?
Say, Teach, this must be the tower, don't you think? You know, even for a tower, it's pretty, towering. It's a remnant of ancient wars. Those thieves certainly found themselves a great place to nest. I hear their leader Miklon is a former noble. It makes sense that he would already know about this place.
Several hundred years ago, this was an important stronghold for diffusing invasions from the north. Back then, this tower was built for both surveillance and defense. It will be difficult to seize it.
Gilbert, isn't it? You hail from the kingdom, right? No wonder you're so knowledgeable. While we're chatting so amicably, do you mind if I ask some questions?
I don't mind. If I can answer them, I will.
Have you ever seen the Lance of Ruin?
I have, a long time ago. It was an impressive, if not eerily ominous weapon to behold. According to Margrave Gautier, Miquelon has used the lance to turn the tables on his pursuers.
Is that right? Then those without a crest can use it as well. Interesting. As far as I knew, that wasn't possible. And then we have the mythical Sword of the Creator, which can't be used by anyone except Teach, crest or no crest. Maybe you're just that special, Teach. Or maybe there's something you're not telling us. Either way, I expect big things from you in this battle. Are you now? Then why don't you hand over the Sword of the Creator for a bit? Then again, it would just be a heavy blade in my hands. There's no justice in this world, Teach. The rain is really coming down now. Let's finish this quickly.
The enemy is close by. We're almost to the top floor.
Phew. Why did we have to climb so high before a battle? At least it's better than fighting in heavy rain. My moment has arrived! Sorry, but victory is mine. Progress suits me well.
I just worked harder.
I call that a win.
Captain's in trouble. Hurry up, you fools!
Enemies approach from the lower floors. Watch the rear flank. Not enough. Thought you could win.
Hilda! Hilda! I can't afford to lose.
Here we go! Attack them from both sides!
It's an ambush.
Naturally.
Let me paint you a picture!
I did it! I did! I'll try even harder next time.
Strength in action.
So, you think you can take the lance from me? I'll kill you. I'll kill every last one of you!
It's over.
Not bad for your kind. A bunch of spoiled, rotten children.
What the hell?
Dad, look at that! I'm out of here! Hold on! No! Ah!
So the hero's relics are hiding a terrible power within. Can't even tell friend from foe anymore. Now, I feel for him, but the best we can do now is finish this quickly.
I'll back you up.
No time like the present.
Goddess, the beast is gone, yet Miquelon and the lance remain.
We defeated him, somehow. Let's grab the lance and return to the monastery.
That man, his form was changed. It was as though that lance was swallowing him whole. Upon that sight, it makes sense that your students were upset. I wonder if those relics truly hide such power. Yet even still, that power seems familiar. That form as well. As one who wields the sword of the Creator, does that mean you possess that power too?
Professor, you have returned. The goddess is indeed generous with her divine protection. I have already heard Gilbert's report about what happened. See to it that you keep what transpired at the tower to yourself. People would lose faith in the nobles should rumors spread of one using a relic and transforming into a monster. All regions of Fodlan would fall into chaos. We must avoid that at all costs. Please ensure the students who accompanied you understand that as well. Have I made myself clear? His transformation into a black beast was nothing short of divine punishment from the goddess. Punishment for someone arrogant and foolish enough to use a hero's relic even though they were unworthy and unqualified. If someone without a crest were to wield the relic you possess, they would likely meet the same fate as Miquelon. You, however, have been chosen. You are worthy of wielding the sword of the Creator, so there is no need to worry. The Church will formally return the lance to House Gautier, if you would. You have my gratitude. I can see that I was right to trust you with this. Please report back. I will tell you of your new mission for the coming moon at that time.
Nice work, Teach. It's thanks to you that we successfully completed our mission. As for Miquelon, I wonder if he really believed he could wield a relic. I bet he just wanted to get his hands on it, even though he knew he couldn't use it. Though I'm sure he wasn't counting on turning into a monster like that. I wonder if that monster represents another aspect of the hero's relics. What a strange and terrifying power.
Stories of misfortune have followed the hero's relics since ancient times.
Tomas, you've caught me by surprise. That's not easy to do. Though I suppose I should have expected to see our librarian in his library.
I am sorry to intrude. I simply heard you speaking of the hero's relics. I can tell you more about them if you'd like. The story goes that Nemesis was corrupted by evil because of the sword of the Creator. Other heroes also lost themselves by continuing to use the relics, transforming into black beasts with twisted souls. There used to be a great many records regarding the dark history of the relics.
Used to be.
They have been destroyed across all of Fodlan, stripped from their shelves, including those that resided at this very library.
You make it sound like the church is covering up the truth. But now that you mention it, Rhea was very specific about not wanting anyone to find out what happened at Conan Tower. Hey, Tomas, why are you telling us all of this?
It seemed like you were searching for answers about the relics. What is a librarian if not a guide in the search for knowledge? And not only have you been searching, but you have been doing so through the night. I would suggest you stop before the knight's notice. And that is enough meddling for today. Please excuse me.
So I've been found out, have I? I suppose I do spend more time at the library than most students. But I won't stop. I can't afford to. Teach. You don't really expect me to tell you something so personal just like that, do you? Though, I wouldn't mind sharing if you were to tell me some of your secrets in exchange.
I can't let this exchange pass without comment. If you're sharing secrets, perhaps I can share one as well?
Are you sure you could survive that? I'd say you're the least likely to share secrets out of everyone at the Academy.
Coming from you, I'll take that as a compliment. After all, you're easily the student with the most secrets.
I'm afraid you overestimate me. My secrets don't amount to much. But back to Teach.
Don't try to change the subject, Claude. We're talking about secrets. Yours. Who is your father? And why did you appear so suddenly, as if from nowhere? Duke Regan's eldest son died in an accident. Having tragically lost other family members as well, he was without an heir. The Alliance would undoubtedly have been shaken if House Regan had lost its position of leadership. But then you showed up. Why did you return to House Regan? What brought you to the monastery?
Alas, to be surrounded by women as lovely as flowers, only to be pricked by their thorns. My dream, in truth, is a selfless dream, but I require power to make it a reality. When I learned about the power of my crest, I knew I had a chance, so I'm chasing that dream, to the bitter end, if need be. I came to this monastery because I thought I might find someone useful, someone to help me on my path. So, what do you think? If you promise to help me achieve my dream, no matter what, I'll promise to tell you anything.
I have my own dream to tend to. I pray that yours does not interfere with mine.
What about you, Teach? I see. Well, now isn't the time to discuss this. You are still my Teach, after all.
Professor, you have done well to complete such a difficult task. You have shown exceptional skill in leading your students. I am forever grateful for the safe return of the hero's relic. Just as I expected, you have mastered the sword of the Creator. Now then, I shall tell you about your mission for the coming month.
Rhea, Archbishop!
Seteth, what troubles you?
Flayn is missing. I cannot find her anywhere. Professor, have you seen Flayn recently? I have searched every corner I can think of. I could not find her anywhere. She may be in danger. Oh, no, 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 what am I to do?
Calm yourself, Seteth. Professor, we shall continue our discussion another time.